Back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Rich Walsh along with Gene Collier. We're taking your phone calls tonight, 412-575-2600. And like we always say, if you need a roof, make sure you call the best in the business.
Everybody needs a roof.
Ireland Contracting. Not only roofs, Gene, they do siding,
Gutters,
they do gutters, they do windows. They can pretty much do everything. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. And if you want to give us a call on the Borders to Borders hotline, it's 412-575-2600. By the way, Gene, the Capitals exercised their demons. They're headed to the Stanley Cup final against the Vegas Knights. Games 1 and 2 will be in Vegas starting on Monday.
Yeah, see how the demon feels against Marc-Andre Fleury in the other net again.
I know.
His head kind of had a spell over them. I'm glad to see the Capitals go. I think it's time for the Capitals to win the Stanley Cup. I hope they do.
Did Sidney Crosby pass a torch to Ovechkin? I mean, it seemed like
I don't know about that.
I don't think so either.
It would be his first cup, and he might not win it.
Yeah. I mean, Marc-Andre Fleury could be a 3-time Stanley Cup champion.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Let's go out to, we're going to go out to Jerry out in West Elizabeth. Jerry, what's up?
Hi, Rich. Hi, Ron. I have a two-part question about Le'Veon Bell.
Sure.
Understanding the franchise tag, the Steelers can only franchise him 2 years, right? Like, if they want to do it next year, they can.
Yeah, they can. They just don't want to pay it.
Oh, they can?
Yeah. They're not going to want to pay it. They can franchise him, yeah.
My second is this will be his 6th year, correct?
Yeah, 5th or 6th. Yeah, something like that. 6th. Yeah.
All right, so he's played 5 years. He's had 5 seasons. And how many seasons did he play all 16 games?
All right, appreciate the call, Jerry. Played all 16 last year. Gene?
Did he?
Pretty sure. His first year he got hurt. Then he was suspended a couple years. And then his season ended short. I mean, it all kind of runs together right now.
Maybe 1 or 2, but the correct answer to that question is I don't know.
And Ron, thanks for answering that question.
Sure, absolutely.
Appreciate it. Okay, so like, people are making fun of me because I tweeted after the Penguins lost to the Capitals, old takes exposed here. Someone had to call me out because I said the Capitals Stanley Cup, this was the Capitals Stanley Cup. No way they beat Tampa. So everyone's like coming after me.
So you've been wrong about something?
Yeah, I was wrong about it. It's a prediction.
I thought that never happened. I know I've never been wrong about anything.
No, never. Yeah. Never. I mean, okay, that was old takes exposed. All right. Glad everyone's pointing it out. I appreciate it. Let's go out to Clint out in Altoona. How you doing, Clint?
Good. How you doing? How you guys doing tonight?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you guys, first question is, how do you feel about the matchup there in Vegas and Washington? And I should know this. Last year, when Fleury was subbing in for Murray, now did he play against the Caps in that series, Fleury?
Yep.
Yes.
And then obviously the years before that, when they knocked him out, it was Fleury. So you said they exercised their demons. Well, maybe their demon is Marc-Andre Fleury.
I think I just said that. Yeah,
that's what Gene pointed out just a little bit ago. I appreciate your call, Clint. It's a good point. And I like Vegas in this series. I think there are a bunch of guys that felt like they're rejects and from other teams, and they mesh together, and they can do something special that no other team has done in the NHL, an expansion team winning a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't believe in the Knights.
You don't?
I didn't think they were going to win the first playoff series. I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. I didn't think this, that, or the other thing, but here they are. They're going against a very physical Washington team and a team that in the Capitals that is really playing responsibly on defense. I think they'll have a hard time winning, which means inevitably that they'll win. Probably in 4.
In 4, maybe in 3. Hey, okay, yes, Marc-Andre Fleury did win that series last year against the Capitals, but it went 7 games. It's not like he beat him in 4 or 5 games. Right. I mean, the Capitals. I mean, it was a good series. Yeah. I mean, right. Yes, he won it, and he was the hero in Game 7 for sure.
Yeah, that's right, and that's really the spot where we should point out Braden Holtby too. I mean, the Tampa Bay is a very high-powered offense. They didn't score, I think, in the last 140 minutes of this series. And they scored in Game 5, and nobody knew then that was their last goal of the season.
All right, let's go back out to the phone line. So we're going to switch subjects and go out to John. I don't know where you're from, John, but we're going to go out to you. John, you there?
Yes. Yeah, John, I'm here, Cutting, PA.
Okay. Thanks for calling from. Where's that? Cuddy?
Cuddy, PA.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where's that?
It's by Bridgeville.
Okay. Cool. All right. Thanks. You see, we learn geography on this show too.
Okay.
Sometimes.
All right, Richie. I just got a few comments.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Take all the time.
Yeah, I'd like to say about the Pirates. I think Gene was right. I think the starting pitching's just young yet, and they pitch good games, and then sometimes they blow up. And once again, I'd like to make a comment on hockey. I think Washington's such a physical team that I don't think Vegas is going to match up with them. And then with the Pirates, Polanco, I don't know what's wrong with him.
No, I can't hear. John out in Cuddy, I appreciate it. Did you know where Cuddy was? Am I the only one that didn't know where Cuddy was?
No, I've not heard of that place.
Yeah.
I respect your criticism of Polanco. That's not working. Something's not working there.
Yeah, and maybe when Starling Marte, do they bench Polanco or platoon him with Meadows? You got to keep Meadows in the lineup, I think, right now. Especially, you would think Marte is going to be coming back here within a week, right?
Yeah. I don't see them keeping Meadows on the major league roster, but look what they did with Nick Kingham.
Yeah. So and
very protective of that.
I guess it would surprise me, like you said. It would surprise me if Meadows is still here, just because of the way the Pirates operate. But you never know. All right, Mary, hang on. We'll get to you guys here in a second. 412-575-2600 is the number. Back in a couple minutes.